ya. Watching them movies and talking about them too. We got so many favorites and they're waiting here for you. We got movies for kids, but don't be mad because we also got the movies meant for mommies and dads. Come on down. Cinemassacre video. Come on down. We're right next to Caldor.
But first, a message from our sponsor.
My beard is getting really bushy again. I don't want to end up looking like a caveman. If only there was a way to get rid of 50% of my facial hair. Too bad all my razors are terrible. I know what to do. That's not what I meant.
Well, good thing today's sponsor is none other than Dollar Shave Club.
Oh right, Dollar Shave Club. They have everything you need to help you feel, look, and smell fresh. Finding the best products is hard and unnecessarily expensive, but these guys make it so easy. They have top shelf products that do amazing things and they deliver everything to you on your schedule.
Shower products, oral care products, hair products, skin products, butt wipes, and obviously shaving products. Basically, if you have a body, they have you covered.
Dollar Shave Club knows that your face deserves only the best. Get everything you need for a clean face and a great shave with their new $5 starter set. You'll receive their executive razor handle, a cassette of 4 razors, 1 ounce tube of Dr. Carver's shave butter, and a 1 ounce tube of their Hawaiian ginger face cleanser. I really love the Wanderer Hydrating Daily Face Cleanser. I can't get enough of that citrus and Hawaiian ginger smell. Join the club with one of their starter sets for just $5. After that, the restock box ships regular size products at regular price. Get this exclusive deal at dollarshaveclub.com/cinemassacre today.
With Dollar Shave Club, shaving is a snap.
Justin, I don't feel so good.
Goodbye, Tony.
Alright, so I had this idea. I wanted to talk about the Marvel movies. Major films. I mean, these are probably like the biggest movies that are out there. I mean, maybe besides Star Wars or something.
Yeah, for at least the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, these are huge, and I've seen them all, most of them, because I usually don't see them in theaters. I usually have to wait for VOD. It's usually a lot tougher for me to get out to movies, especially when you have kids. You don't get out to see movies that often. And I'm really impressed with these movies. I'm impressed with the quantity and the quality that they're able to put out like 2 or 3 of these a year, and none of them are bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was initially an attack, basically, like, to have like these 3 or 4 phases, and we're going to release these 21, 22, 23 movies. Yeah. And they all tie together, and therefore they all promote each other. It's almost like how YouTube works, where you need to like build and build and build and build.
I mean, it's like the Universal monsters, and it's like Godzilla, but this is the first time it was ever actually really done well, where they had a strategy and they knew what they were doing. And I mean, they must be working on these movies simultaneously, like where they have one crew that's doing one thing and one crew that's doing another, and it's really impressive. So, like I said, I've enjoyed most of these movies, but I don't like the ones that are the Avengers, the ones that have all the characters in them, and I don't know why.
Yeah, in my opinion, I like the standalone ones more.
Okay.
Especially like Guardians of the Galaxy, I think is probably the pound for pound best of them.
So you're with me kind of on that.
And the Iron Man movies, but the like the super ensemble movies, be it like Avengers 1, 2, and of course Endgame and Infinity War, it's just so much to pack in. And especially the first Avengers movie, it's like so much. The CG wasn't super great, like spin around shots and all that. Like I'm not a fan as much as
I love these films. I love the Avengers. Each one I think is great. I love the Marvel movies as they are, like the regular characters: Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man. Every single one of them, I've had fun in the theaters. I just saw Captain Marvel, loved it.
Yeah,
I really like these movies. They're what I grew up with. The cartoons, the characters I knew in the 90s.
I don't think anyone really cared about Guardians until it came out into a movie.
I had never really heard of them. But once the movie came out, everybody was like going nuts about Groot and Rocket Raccoon and Drax and all them. They're all great, and they are great stories. But I think they're all perfect. I think they are like our modern day Star Wars.
Or is what you're talking about is 3 films, and this is like what 20 or something.
22.
But they come out so like nowadays where you can produce movies faster than you could back then. Everything was so practical.
And the only entity that can do this is Marvel and Disney. Like, this is only something you can do if you have that much money.
Yeah.
But they're doing a good job with the material, and like I have no like solid complaints. But for some reason, when I watch the movies that have all the Avengers in them, they just bore me.
Oh, so
and I don't
you're
know why.
fine with the MCU, you just don't like the Avenger films.
Yeah, it's the Avengers ones. And I don't know why, because it should feel like the final act of like this phase. It should feel like... It shouldn't feel crowded. It should feel like you watched all the individual films and now you're ready for this. But then when I watch it, I'm just like, I'm looking at the clock the whole time. I'm like, when is this going to end? Yeah. And they're always more than 2 hours. Well, they're never like...
See, I like that. I love... I mean, honestly, I went last year.
You love those ass-numbing long...
I don't know what it is. Like, last year, I went with Justin and Ryan to go see Infinity War. And that movie blew me away. And you know, when the movie ended, I'm looking around. There's kids crying. There's kids going like, what's going on, Dad? Like Spider-Man. These kids are freaking out. And I was like, I've never been to a movie where I've seen kids not understanding what to do. And all I could think of was like, this must have been like 82 when Empire came out, and kids are seeing Han Solo getting frozen.
80.
Yeah, 80. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And, you know, Luke Skywalker getting his hand cut off, falling out of Bespin, and he's got to just deal with it. Like, they lost. This movie was where these kids are seeing their heroes losing for the first time, and now all I'm sitting there is like, I can't wait to see what happens after
You're comparing the Avengers movies to Star Wars, at least like the 3 or 4.
Well,
maybe because of how they affected society and people watching
even
them.
Moviegoers, like, Star Wars... You know, where it is now is a lot different than what it was in 77, in 80, and 83 or 82. I think, but they were movies that affected people, that people couldn't wait to see.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what they've done with this. There are way more.
Yeah.
But that was another thing.
Well, to be fair, they tried doing that with Star Wars again, and it's been a failure with the Han Solo, Rogue One.
But I think that's because they are taking something that's 40 years old, and they're trying to pump it out with new characters that we don't really give a shit about.
I will say the MCU is very good against fighting superhero fatigue, where like Amazing Spider-Man and stuff were definitely not. I think because the Avengers movies move the goalposts with everyone, with like from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3, you just have to watch, or all of us have to watch, this incredible amount of movies to keep up with what's going on.
Well, that's one thing. It's tough to keep up. It's almost like borderline television. It's movies, but they're coming out so fucking fast. The only one I haven't seen so far, I think, is Captain Marvel, and that's only because it just came out. I'm really interested to see Captain Marvel. I want to see it, but it just came out like less than a month.
By the time this review goes
when we're recording this,
Endgame's going to be
out. Yeah, because I don't see these in the theaters, and that's another thing I was wondering. Maybe because these are meant to be big screen movies. Yes. I don't have a chance to see them that quickly, so by the time I get to them, I have to just wait for VOD.
Yeah.
I think that definitely hurts it by, like, for example, I saw the first Transformers movie on like a tiny 4x3 whatever, like in like
2000. You mean the 86?
No, like the first one of them, the first Michael Bay one.
Oh, those.
I saw it on a tiny screen in my house. I wasn't in the theater, so I just couldn't tell what was going on with all that awful Decepticons and stuff. So I just never liked the series at all.
Well, I saw in the theater. It didn't help a whole lot.
So if you're watching any of the MCU movies, but especially the Avengers stuff, but if you're watching at home or you're distracted or it's on a computer monitor or whatever, you don't really get the full effect. So your viewing habit might take away from the whole thing, especially when there's 21 films.
Like, I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp on the plane, and I was watching that on a tiny screen, and I still liked it. It might just be because if you're, I mean, it depends on how much you're into these characters and how much you're into Marvel and all that kind of stuff. If it's one of those things where you're into the movies, but you never really gave a shit about the characters to begin with, kind of thing, you might not really care. Like, it might be one of those things where, like, yeah, they're good movies, but I don't really give a shit in a way. But it's like, with me, it's different because these are my childhood characters. I was big into Marvel. I was big into X-Men, all that stuff. And now seeing this in you know, the big screen and being able to go to a movie where I know these characters, I've known them since I was a kid, and getting to see them finally, like, having these epic battles in real life.
Still, even now, I think Iron Man is still my favorite of all the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the magic formula was. Maybe it was just because it was the first one. But I did see Iron Man in the theaters. That one is still my favorite, I think. And I know that they classify these into phases. I think that was my favorite of phase 1, at least. Because Hulk, Iron Man 2, Captain America, I don't know, they were all right. They were fine. Phase 2, I think, was the phase I liked the least.
I wasn't big on Thor 2.
I was
phase 2?
actually, like, I premiered my movie, The Angry Video Game Nerd, right like a block and a half away from where Guardians of the Galaxy was premiering the exact same night at the El Capitan. I'm at the Egyptian, and they're at the El Capitan, and it was like I saw this huge line of people, and I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, those are all those people for Guardians of the Galaxy, and then somebody told me, no, they're in line for you. I'm like, oh shit.
Wow.
I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy that Lloyd Kaufman appeared in both movies that same night. Iron Man 3 was okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too, is not all of them are A+.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like,
Endgame, Thor 2 was okay.
not
Captain
Endgame.
America 2, the Winter Soldier one was okay.
I liked
Ant-Man was
Captain America
alright.
2. Yeah.
And then we get into Phase 3. Civil War, I thought, was one of the best ones
Civil
in a
War is
while.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that because it's the first time you see all of them, like,
Well, it's
fighting
because
each other.
Even though it was like, and then I was like, wait a minute, so I'm liking this one, and they're mashing up a bunch of characters together. I'm like, but the other Avengers movies, I think, right, and this timeline I'm going through, we're at 2 Avengers movies so far. I skipped them over, but...
Well, I always say, like, Civil War is, like, Avengers 2.5.
No.
Yeah, so I was like, what about Civil War made me like that one?
It's because all their solo films come together in that one.
Yeah.
Whereas the first Avengers, where they're just fighting stuff from the sky, and Avengers 2, they're fighting Robot Man, like...
Ultron.
It's not like Civil War, where it's like, oh, now you have all these established, action hero or action figures banging
Also
against
bringing
each other.
in Spider-Man for the first time, which was awesome. To be honest, I really don't dislike any of them. Iron Man 3, I was a little bit disappointed with the Mandarin.
I think that might have been the weakest of all of them.
Yeah,
now,
in my
now that I'm
opinion,
thinking
too.
about it,
I think the same thing. Captain America... One might be my second weakest, and maybe Thor 1 and 2.
Now, here's the thing. The weird thing is with, okay, so we're in Phase 3 now with Civil War. Doctor Strange, now that was a character I knew jack shit about.
Yeah.
Saw that and was like, well, that's cool. That's a different type of superhero. I'm like, just when I thought I was going to be bored, and now I'm like, oh, now they're bringing Spider-Man into this. Guess I got to see that one. And then Spider-Man was pretty good, Homecoming. And then Thor 3... Yeah, and I was like, okay, there's a third Thor movie. Really? It's like, it's fine. I don't mind.
Which has Super Guardians stuff in it.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That one was great. I loved it.
It also has, what's her name, from Creed 2, who I'm in love with.
Oh, yeah.
Tessa Thompson.
But it's Thor 3, the third Thor movie, had a lot of humor in it, and I liked that. And then Black Panther, which was, speaking of Creed 2, was directed by Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
Black Panther was great. And I think we're almost up to... at that point, Infinity War came out. But then again, I'm like, okay, so, all right, a third Avengers film, fine. I'll give it... maybe this will be the one that brings me back. And then I watch it, I'm just like, oh my god, I can't wait till this is over.
Man, Infinity War blew my damn mind.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so surprised.
I love that movie. That's my favorite of the whole series.
Well, not just you, a lot of people love that one.
It's funny because now Endgame is going to caps off pretty much the whole phase, I guess. But then you're going to have movies after that.
So what are we? Are we in Phase 4 now? What's going on?
I think. Oh man, I forget.
Here's the thing with this.
I think it ends Phase 3.
This is what I think is going to happen. Marvel owns Fox and all that stuff or whatever, and they're going to bring in the X-Men. I think that they're going to do... So they did the Infinity War, all that stuff.
It's like a new reboot.
They're going to bring in like things like the Phoenix and Onslaught and the, you know, House of M... And all that stuff is going to affect these people where they're like, now we have mutants, not just people that have powers because they have powers, but now we have these people that are being born with powers, and we have to deal with that.
Also, a good thing to note is that a lot of people say their favorite Godzilla movie is Destroy All Monsters because it has most of the monsters in it. At that time, at that point in the Godzilla timeline, pretty much every monster that was around, they just like threw into the movie. That was never one of my favorites. So I kind of equate that to the Avengers, where the ones that have the more characters I like the least for some reason.
Yeah.
So we don't have an answer for your thing.
Well, no, I don't think we ever will. It's just like I think it's a combination, getting old, and not liking that many characters. I think I have a limit of how many characters can be in the same movie. I don't know. Or just not being a comic book fan. I mean, I am. I've read a lot of Batman and stuff, but I didn't grow up on all this superhero stuff.
Yeah.
So this is all kind of just like new to me. So I don't know if there's like a prerequisite, something you need to like read up on before to get as psyched, or it's just something that if I was younger, if these movies came out when I was a kid, I would have probably just loved them all. But I don't know. I think I'm past my prime on this stuff. I'm not sure.
I do have a challenge for the viewers at home. Which I thought would be a fun brain exercise. You know, because you're going to see Endgame or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess the exercise is if the opposite 50% of the Avengers were spirited away compared to the other ones. So you have Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, you know, Winter Soldier, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Black Panther. Could they have gotten like everything fixed? I think that's a fun exercise.
Yeah.
So think about that after you watch Endgame.
All right, guys, I'm ready to talk about this. We're ready to talk about the MCU TV shows, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, all that stuff. You ready?
Oh, come on. How much do I have to catch up on now? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Yeah, we already talked about like all the movies and stuff. We don't have time for this stupid Netflix shit that got canceled.
Oh. I'm going to go watch Inhumans by myself.
Go for it.
Inhumans got canceled after like 2 episodes, you nerd.
That's the joke, Kieran!
So that video you just saw was recorded like a month ago, maybe more, and I didn't know I was going to be seeing the new movie on the same weekend. So now that I saw it, my opinion's the same, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to get into anything about it. Oh, Jesus Christ!
I think my only complaints with it are not in the movie. My complaints are in myself. Like, why the hell am I not, you know, why do I not love this? But now that I've seen it now and I'm more fresh, I can kind of maybe, I kind of remember now a little more that when I saw the other movies, I actually do like the first halves. I think there's something that happens in the middle of the movie where my brain starts to check out and then I just get like tired of it. I mean, it didn't help that these are my parking meters for the movie. This is how many times I had to get up to go to the parking meter because they won't let you put over a certain amount in there. It's ridiculous. But anyway, whenever I'd come back, I'd be like, okay, what's happening now? There's a part in it where I'm just like, it gets to a point where I'm not following the plot anymore. I don't know why. I'm just like I don't know, like I don't care enough or something. And I'm like, I'm not going to overthink it, or I'm not going to like try to force myself too much, but I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, why am I not following what's going on now? And also, like, I really love the funny parts with the Hulk. I like all the humor in it, but somewhere in the middle of the movie, it loses me. And one thing that I figured out was that I think with the Avengers movies, as opposed to the other Marvel movies, is that because there's so many characters, you don't see them enough. So it'll get to a point where I'm like, well, when's the last time we saw Thor? That was a while ago. So I don't get a chance to, to get used to any one part, because the characters all tend to split up a lot.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, now we're back to them. And it doesn't connect with me as much when we're not staying with the same characters. So maybe that's why I like the Marvel movies, the individual films, better.
The entire time, like, I didn't drink any. I had a few sips of water at the beginning of this movie. Don't get up. Don't leave the theater. Like, there's too much going on throughout the entire movie. Even though it's 3 hours long, it never felt like there was a moment to rest, which is what I liked about Infinity War. But this was just Infinity War times 10 pretty much. And it's really, I'll just say this, I don't really give a shit, but I shed a couple tears, let me tell you. I really don't care. This movie is like, I mean, I'm a huge comic book Marvel guy. I grew up with the cartoons mainly, so seeing all the characters again in real life, I'm still kind of taking it in.
Yeah, I just can't get into them as much. I don't know why. And you know what? I'm like that way with Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Lord of the Rings, I was the same way actually.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't that into them.